Welcome to our podcast, Resilient Heroes, where we are dedicated to showcasing the incredible journeys and contributions of women in the field of emergency management. I'm your host, Laura James. Welcome back to another episode of Resilient Heroes, the podcast where we spotlight the women making waves, breaking barriers, and shaping the future of emergency management. I'm your host, Laura James, and today, oh friends, you're in for a real treat. Our guest has dedicated her career to keeping communities safe, prepared, and resilient. She's a certified emergency manager, a proud graduate of Savannah State University, and currently serves as captain of the emergency management team at the Atlanta-Fulton County Emergency Management Agency. She's coordinated hazard mitigation plans, supportive major special events like the Super Bowl, and been at the forefront of public outreach in her community, all while embodying leadership, service, and heart. Please help me welcome Destiny Ruffin. Destiny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. So excited.
So I want to start way back at the beginning because your path into emergency management actually started with a bit of a twist. You began college as a sociology major, and then an intro to Homeland Security and Emergency Management course changed everything for you. So can you take us back to that time and what clicked for you?
So it's funny because I was a sociology major. I'm gonna be very honest, didn't know what I would want to do for college when it came to majors, but I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. However, they partnered when I first got there as a freshman at Savannah State. They university they partnered me up with a mentor, and that person at the time just so happened to be getting her degree in the spring for emergency management and homeland security. So I was like,
Okay.
oh, wow, that's kind of interesting. What is that? She was just explaining to me. She was like, well, why don't you do this? The intro to Homeland Security and Emergency Management is a elective class that you can choose from
Okay.
from a list of classes. So she was like, why don't you take that intro class and see if you might be interested in it? So I took the intro class. I want to say my second semester of my freshman year, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this because I was always intrigued about government and
Mhm.
also social studies was my favorite subject, so that kind of correlates as well. So I was like, oh, I kind of like I'm learning about emergency management. I'm learning more about homeland security. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change my major. Change my major. I want to say my junior year, we ended up having an International Association of Emergency Management, IEM. We ended up having a student chapter. And the person who was the president at the time, they were graduating. So they were like, hey, I think you'd be great to be the president. I was like, what? I just joined. What are you talking about? He was like, no. She was like, no, you're great. You'll be great at this. So I actually became the student chapter president for 2 years. Great opportunity to partner with Red Cross and do blood drives. We've also
Yeah.
did like a big. I'm on the coast of Georgia, so we did a lot of marsh cleanup and beach cleanups. We did a lot of things with some of the community emergency response teams with the local Chatham County with the local emergency management agency there. And we worked with them on some projects. So I was like, I really got into it. It really became more of a lifestyle, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's not a career shift. That's like a full-on commitment to a different life.
Yeah.
That's really what you did. So, and taking on that, like leading the student chapter of IAM, that really sounds like it put you in the field. So you were out and about actually engaging with the community at that point.
I was also just getting integrated with the school system because the school system they had just got a renovated football stadium, and they wanted
Okay.
to build out a operations center, so a stadium operations center, if that makes more sense. And they wanted some insight on that. But I got the opportunity. We were playing Oklahoma State University in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I actually got to go as a student ambassador and actually got to view their stadium operations and also the operations center. And I got to go to like a suite, and it's a really we got the game was terrible. They slaughtered us, but the overall experience of actually seeing on a collegiate level of an operation center
Yes.
and like some kind of in that realm really was a great eye opener for me to see something outside of your normal government, but more so of in an
Exactly.
athletic version of
Special
it with
events.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And so when you graduated, and I'm just going to share with everybody that Destiny graduated magna cum laude. So congratulations. You are
Thank you.
you are a high achiever. So from there, you went straight into the field. So you didn't take a break, you didn't hesitate, you jumped right in and went to Atlanta-Fulton County Emergency Management Agency, which is where you are now.
That's correct.
And so, what did that feel like going from school and then jumping right into the operational world? And did you have challenges early on? Did you feel comfortable? How did it go for you right at the beginning?
From the beginning, my mentor, she's awesome. Her name is Vanessa Vaughn. Matthews now. She got married. But she recommended, she was like, I think you should intern before you really decide if this is gonna be a career. And I said that
Good
because
advice.
sometimes some people get a degree in something and they never even work in it. They've never worked in it. You get the fundamentals when you're in college, but can you implement that into an actual career? I think that's the challenge that most people have when they leave.
Exactly.
So I came back home. I knew I was coming back home, and I had reached out to the Atlanta-Fulton County Emergency Management Agency deputy director at the time, Pansy Ricks. And I was like, I just want an opportunity just to come to volunteer or intern, whatever I could do. And she was like, well, you're more than welcome, but we're not paying. Unfortunately, we don't have a paid internship.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? I will do that. I wanted that experience. I wanted to know really if this is what I really wanted to do, or did I want to go back to school to get a master's in something else? So
Right.
that was one of the things. I will say the challenge was this was in 2013. So emergency management wasn't, I want to say, a sexy job or the hot job at the time like it is now. It's a demand for it
Right.
today. But back then there wasn't, outside of going to work at local government, state government, or FEMA. So it was a little challenge. I will say I give all like praise and like really thanks to the team here at AFSIM at that time. They were very much like, hey, what are you interested in? Let's dabble in planning.
Hmm.
Let's dabble in outreach. Let's dabble in learning us even reimbursements, a little bit of that, and see what that looks like. So I would say just the early challenges was actually trying to find the job with not having that much experience. So I feel like interning was always essential to that. I stayed here for a little while. I did some contract work, and then I want to say in 2014 I went to the state. They had a
Oh,
temporary position that they were looking for someone to help close out some old projects and public assistance. So I went there for almost 11 months. It was actually supposed to be like a month and a half that I was going to actually be there, but they kept renewing me. They was like, "Hey, you were really good. You're knocking out these projects." But actually learning public assistance, I will say, was one of the best lessons I learned from the state
hmm.
because I utilize it a lot here at where I am at AFSEMA, and I learned so much from that. And then I actually came back to AFSEMA after those 11 months, almost close to 12 months, to work on the hazard mitigation plan that needed to be updated. Someone had recently left at the agency, and automatically my boss at the time was like, I knew you would be perfect, so I'm gonna call you. And he called me. He was like, "How's the state going?" I'm like, "It's going good." He was like, "Yeah, you want to come back?" I was like, "I don't know." He was like, "I'll pay you. I promise you I'll pay you a little bit more than the state will." So
There you go.
so I came back, and I think the rest is kind of history.
So, I mean, that one experience, though, opened your eyes up and allowed you to come back with more tools in your toolkit. So that's amazing for you and for your organization.
Right. I
So, so you have been there for a decade at this
yes.
point, and you have been, planning large scale events, you have been responding to emergencies. And when you and I were chatting, you said you've worn so many hats, whether that's EOC manager or logistics chief or liaison officer. I mean, the list goes on. You've really sat in every seat and had every role, and you managed through the COVID-19 pandemic. So is there a particular activation or response or something that really stands out to you the most over the last decade and why?
I would probably say COVID. because
Yeah.
COVID challenged me a little bit more. I feel like I was, you know how you get comfortable and I'm really good at planning. I'm really good at this. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I want to stay here. But we have a small team. Most emergency management agencies, we have very small teams.
Yes, of course.
Typically, so you don't have much of a choice but to wear multiple hats.
It's true. You get comfortable wearing hats.
But then my boss at the time, he was like, hey, I think you'll be a good liaison officer. And I'm like, what? He was like, you're really good
Yeah.
with people. You're really good with connecting and cultivating relationships. We need that right now. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And then he was also like, hey, finance might need your help. I think you're really good at public assistance. Let's get you in there, and you're either going to be the finance section chief or the deputy finance section chief. I'm like, okay. So it started off like he just would throw things at me, but I will say it challenged me, but it also gave me the opportunity to like really show that I had different skills that I didn't realize I had. Like especially with the
Exactly.
finance section chief role, I literally was really helping the finance team and educating them on kind of like the importance of having all these logs or having these having policies in place before a declaration is put into place.
Exactly.
I think
Yes.
people and I'm telling them this, I'm like, it doesn't sound like it's gonna helpful, but later on it's gonna be helpful. Or documenting or overly documenting because sometimes you shortchange documents and then FEMA or the state are like, oh, you don't have enough documents. We need more. We want more. We need
Exactly.
more. So
And I would say that when I'm training or in an EOC activation, you know, in an exercise, everyone always hates talking about the finance piece. It's not flashy, it's not exciting, it's not,
nope.
nobody really wants to talk about it or do it. And I get it, because unless you're an accountant, it isn't flashy or exciting. However, what I've learned over the years and what you have learned to share with your team is that it's really the first thing that we should be thinking about as soon as we hit the go button. Okay, we need to start tracking our finances, because as you know, that's the last thing we do in recovery. Paying those final invoices, getting that final, recouping those final costs, that can go on years after the EOC has been
Yes.
deactivated. And so you're one of the first guests on Resilient Heroes to really, hammer that point home, that this is the thing that goes on long after your EOC activation, and it's important for so many reasons. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's very, and I think also I'm more of I'm from Atlanta in Fulton
Hmm.
County, so community is a big thing for me as well. How can we integrate, what I know to people who may not know, those vulnerable populations who don't know what to do during emergencies or how to prepare for those things too. So I feel like my team has really like leaned on me to be like, you do really good, and people like we've done like national night outs and stuff, and people come up to my boss and they're like, she was really good. She gave me great ideas. I gave them a kit, or I may have gave them a NOAA weather radio, and then they're super excited and learning how that can be very important during emergencies. So, um, yeah, just wearing multiple hats has been it's scary, but I feel like it's also what's needed to become a great leader, especially in emergency management.
I absolutely agree. Thank you for sharing that with our listeners. And to be open to being uncomfortable, I think, is something we all need to learn, especially in emergency management. We plan for all of the unforeseen things and recognize that planning should help us when we're uncomfortable in those various seats.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, to sort of follow up, knowing that you've worn many hats, and you and I have chatted about, the challenges of COVID and how hard that was on us as emergency managers, because it wasn't just us helping our communities manage, it was also our teams and ourselves trying to manage through a global pandemic. So how did you keep your team calm, and how do you do that throughout your career? When you're dealing with high pressure situations, how do you manage your team to ensure that everybody's feeling positive?
I think one of the things about having emergency management teams, we're so close because
Yeah,
we're so small. So we get to know each other. You get to know
that's
kind of like
exactly.
the body language when you feel like your teammate is,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
exhausted, or when they're kind of like maybe high stress, they were like, let's kind of like, hey, let's, let's go take a moment. I
Yeah,
think
let's go for
we
a
did a
walk.
we did a really good job of kind of like finding humor in a little bit of everything. So we were like a team that I think we're like the misfits. Like we're all different, but we have
Hmm.
great chemistry. Like we're like, how are y'all friends, or how are you guys really y'all so close and like each other? We're like misfits here. Everyone's like
Yes.
a little
And,
bit different.
and a little bit of dark humor brings the team together, you know?
Yes, we're like, so like it's funny because my boss was like, "Oh, everyone's going home for COVID, where they about to send people home, they about to start working." So me and my coworkers like, "Oh yeah, let's pack up our bags." He's like, "Where are you guys going? You're not going home. You're staying here."
You're essential. Uh-huh.
We were like, but we thought we were gonna go. He was like, "No, where's your go bag? Where's your?" So we're big on like, what's your comfort food? So the lady who take care of most of our finances, she's like, "What's your comfort food? Send it to me. Let's order it." So we're like kind of like we have like during COVID, probably why we some of us gained weight. We had our comfort food.
I
We had
love that so much.
I am a crossword like puzzle kind of girl. Like trying to
Okay.
like digital, like I love it like paper, but I on my phone under games, I'm like that weirdo that has like crossword puzzles. So I love like that's kind of like my thing. Or if I see like I'm a declutterer and organizer. Like if I feel
Okay.
like
Yep.
if I'm having that moment where I feel like I just need to I need a breather, I'll go and see, I have a list of projects that I know my boss that he wants to be reorganized or get rid of stuff. I'll just start doing that for like 30 minutes
That's your
or took a
decompression.
oh my God, it's so soothing. He's like, my boss like, that's what you want to do? He was like, but it helps me. I was like, I know, but I don't know, it just soothes my anxiety and my that high pressure stuff. I'm like, okay, let me just go ahead and do this and then I'll come back
And
to
put
it.
something in order. Yeah, something
Yeah,
you can control.
yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned this earlier, and I do want to really kind of chat about it. One of the things that I admire most about your work, and you and I have discussed in the past, is really how much you lean into your community. And, knowing you're from Atlanta, you've said that one of the best parts of your job is engaging with the community and learning about what they need for preparedness versus what we standard, in our standard public awareness, the regular things that we tell people to do. So why is this piece so important to you to engage with the public, and why does it excite you to be doing that?
I think it goes back to being an undergrad. I had a class called Social Vulnerabilities and Emergency Management,
Mhm.
and learning those different vulnerable populations and why they're ill prepared because they don't know or they've never been educated on. And I feel like public trust is a big thing. So we're big on going
Yeah.
to career days to do, especially like it's like elementary school. I've done high school. I've done middle school, but also church
Destiny.
events. Huh?
I have to stop you right there to share. A couple of weeks ago, one of my good friends asked me to go to like a regional high school career event. So I
Hmm.
went, set up an emergency management booth. It was about a 3-hour event. And I'm going to share with you something that I found so disheartening. No, I had so many folks come because they saw emergency management on the syllabus and they came to my classroom to chat with me, but not a single one of those students or their parents had ever heard of emergency management as a field. So
Yep.
when you say that you're out there in primary schools, that is amazing. So like you're starting young, you're getting them right at the beginning when their brains can just suck in all the excitement.
To me, they're the best ones because
Of course.
because I'm in the position of I'm between police and fire, and then it's me. So
Yeah,
typically in that realm of career day, that's what they would probably put me
of
under.
course. Yeah.
So they're like, oh, they ask all the great questions. Kids are like the honest people you'll ever meet. I don't care what no one says. Between them and our elderly population, they're gonna be the most honest with you. And
Of
they
course.
actually know so much stuff. And I think with the primary and elementary school is Sesame Street and some of the other preparedness stuff for the youth are so good that it gets
Mhm.
them very engaged, and they're like they're realizing they're incorporating to that's what I do already at home. So it's like pinpointing that to them and like getting them or let's get prepared, and all that good stuff too. But even for high schoolers, um, they're like, oh, we have the CERT program, we have teen CERT, we have a city in our county that wants to do a teen CERT. That's not really popular here in Fulton County, but they're like they had so many teens sign up to say they want to do it. And even I just thought it was just so engaging that they would want to do that. Because I also
Yes.
think I'm college is great, but sometimes what about, some people are not college material. I
That's
always
right.
think I always say trades are really good too. Like I know that a lot of the fire departments here in our county, in our different cities, they are recruiting like fresh out of high school people to come in and showing them
Yes.
like kind of like what does that look like career wise. You can always go back to school, and then they might consider paying for it. So also seeing those different options too, and in emergency management, learning that um, it's new that is more degree programs for it now, emergency
It's
management
true.
and homeland security. 2013 probably was only two or three of them. Now you see so many of
Exactly.
them. So you have
Yep.
associates now, you have bachelors, you can get your master, you can get a doctoral in it right now. So it's just good to see kind of like what that looks like. But also, I've always given them the story of my mentor. She didn't go government when it came to emergency management. She went
Hmm.
corporate. She went to like a corporate standpoint, which is more crisis management. It's not emergency management, and she let me know that all the time. But that's a good way to like kind of get people into like different things. I've noticed school systems have emergency managers now. You have
Yes.
some of I want to say
Even the
like
financial industry has, I
yeah,
mean, it's the opportunities are endless.
and I think it's great to engage with the students on kind of like what does that look like. I don't like it's hard explaining my job, but then I always say FEMA. Everyone knows FEMA, unfortunately, good, bad, or ugly.
True.
They know what it is, but also I think it's one of those things that empowering people to inform people. Like I'm the person in my family, most of my family, I'm the one that's actually sending out the text message like, hey, we have cold weather coming in. Here are some tips that I want you guys to know. Or maybe have some weather from the coastal coming in. Do you know what that means? Do you know what a watch versus a
Hmm.
warning is? I kind of like give
Hmm.
examples that's more simplistic than actually like more of a term. So I'm that person. And even in my sorority, they've asked me like, hey, what does this mean? Or can you give a presentation? Or kind of like, yeah, I can.
Oh my
So
gosh, I
I've
love that.
I really kind of like if people want me to, I'm so open to coming to explaining the field and then also what we do and how can we be of support.
I love that. So, I mean, it doesn't matter what aspect of your life, whether that's friends, family, colleagues, you really are embracing emergency management and sharing your knowledge across the board.
I am. I try my best to because I love it. I love the field so much.
So, I want to talk to you a little bit about how you personally show resilience because this field can be really demanding and unpredictable and also emotionally draining. We work long hours. Sometimes
Mhm.
we are talking about, really upsetting things and seeing really upsetting things in our EOC. So, what keeps you destiny resilient? How do you decompress when you get home? How do you come back to yourself at the end of the day?
So I will say this: we've our team since we've grown and from like being four people, I think we're a staff of 12, including animal services and another division. But
Yep.
we have enough people. We have duty officer rotation. So the
Okay.
weeks that I am not the duty officer, so I don't have to come home and be the one that's on call. I'm leaving work at work. Unfortunately,
Right.
I've had to learn a long time. Like what? If I didn't get something completed today, what? There's always tomorrow. I was big on like, oh, I gotta get it done. I gotta get it done. No, I don't. I can only do so much.
Yep.
I
It'll
have to recharge. I have to recharge myself. So some days I get home, I literally will just take off all my clothes, just decompress. Maybe have dinner, or if maybe watch a show. Maybe listen to.
yeah.
I've got into audiobooks. So something that's not related to the job. Maybe listen to something
Me too.
that excites me. Or
Yep.
I'll go in my I have an office, but I also turn into like my lady cave-ish. So all my like I'm a girly girl, but I work in emergency
Me
management. So
too.
I'm very
Yep.
girly. So I have like a glam room slash my office. So I go in there, I have a little chair in there. I'll go in there and just, relax and just really like decompress. But also like, doing something that I want to do. What is something that Disney want to do? Do I want to go take a walk?
Yes.
Do I want to take a
Yes.
drive? As I've become older, I love to take a drive and listen to some like calm music, some R&B or some jazz. And maybe for like an
Hmm.
hour just or I will say this, I have dated someone that at one point in time I started doing this even though we weren't no longer together. I would just go drive, get ice cream and sit in the parking lot and just
Ah, yes.
enjoy a little ice cream. And I then drive home and then I feel better. I know that sounds really like cliche or like really corny, but it's very, very helpful.
Yeah. First of all, you're removing yourself from your regular environment. You're giving yourself a reward, and then you're taking some quiet time. I love that. Such a great idea. Okay, talk to me, Destiny. We talk about this on Resilient Heroes, and I know you have had such great luck throughout your career, but as a woman in emergency management, what challenges have you faced? Have you had issues related to, gender and how have you managed those throughout your career?
I will say initially coming into the field, it's dominated by men, white male men
Yes.
to be exact. So I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me, which was
Yeah.
kind of like a little of a discouragement. But I will say my former boss was very good at kind of like he knew if I was uncomfortable in certain situations, or he could read the
Ah,
room, and he would be like,
I love
"Hey,
that.
let's." He was like, "Come here, let me show you something." He was like, the best thing you can do is just be on top of your stuff. No, be resourceful. Be
Hmm.
polite. He was like, there's nothing they can do when you're polite and you give them respect. They have to give it back to you. Not to say that's always going to happen, but stand tall, like in what
Yes.
you know. I know I belong in this room because I feel like I have the same or a little bit more of what you guys have as well. So I will say more of a gender because it is a male dominated field.
It is. And
It's a sprinkle of ladies or females in the field.
And I would say that, I mean, his advice, stand tall and know your stuff. I always say, if we have a seat in the room, then we have a voice in the room.
Hmm.
Um, and it's taken a long time for us to get here. In my career, when I started, there was no degree programs at all. So most of the women my age have come through various professions and then finally ended up in emergency management. And, we found our path because we know our stuff, because we are strong in the skill sets that we have. And I love that your boss gave you the confidence, and he could tell just by looking if you were lacking, and then would give you a pep talk. I mean, that's actually very rare for our resilient heroes, so I love that you had that experience.
I think also as the years have gone by, just like really connecting with women in emergency management,
Hmm.
also being
Yeah.
like a voice like, hey, if you ever need anything or you need help with something, I'm here for you. Like I don't
Yeah.
want you to think like here's my number if you want to call, even if you need a day to vent and like kind of like talk out your problems, because my mentor's been that for me as well. Um, but also just having that we've kind of like kind of sort of in a sense we're still trying to build up that safe space for women in our field and kind of like what best advice that we can give each other or how can we support each other. Are you having an event? Would you like me to come? I would love to come and support. Would you like me to share the
Yes.
event? How can I be of support? But I think the main thing is knowing you know your stuff. You really practiced this field. You literally learned it. You soak it up every day. Stand tall. Like I have so many people now compared to when I was young. It's like I can call on you, and like some of the fires used to call me, and they were like, "Hey, Destiny, thanks for your help." Or they'll tell my boss, "She just came in and helped me. I was so lost, but she was so patient with me." I feel like also the patience of being with people that you're trying to help, that also helps to make you stand out, and also with the you know, hey, you know what, Chief, you can call me. Or hey, so and so, you can call me anytime if you need help. I'm just here to be a resource. I think that kind of like has been my, I want to say superpower, because people feel like sometimes the big bosses are always busy. They might not
That's
return
right.
people's call. And so I try to cultivate relationship with some of the smaller partners. So I can be that person like, what do you need? Or when they see me, they be like, they see my boss was like, this is always helpful. She always helps me. She always makes sure I'm, if she doesn't know a resource, if she doesn't have it, she'll find it for me and follow up with me. So I feel like I've used that as like a armor to like make sure people know, like especially the smaller people know that hey, I'm here for you, and that I feel like building that confidence of them knowing that I'm a person that they can count on.
An indispensable resource is what you've made yourself.
I think yep,
And,
that's a great way
and
of
I
putting
think,
it.
yeah, and I think that that's a great strategy. And I would say that along with, you've mentioned throughout the interview so far is that you make those personal connections. You try and have those personal relationships, whether that's with partners, colleagues, or other organizations. You're making that personal connection that's beyond work. And I think that also makes you indispensable. Being the one they know they can count on and you'll pick up the phone, that is amazing. Okay, I want to ask you a follow-up question that I ask all of our resilient heroes. If there's a young woman listening today and she's thinking about a career in emergency management, or we have a young woman who's listening today who's thinking about a shift in their career, and they're worried that they're not ready, that they're not qualified, that they don't feel that they could stand tall, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to really on hone in on what you're good at. I feel like my best advice is focus on what you're good at and make it so good that no one else is going to be able to compete with you on that. I
I
said
love
that
that.
I am the morning person. Most of my coworkers don't like it, but I'm also the person that I'm always thinking of him like, okay, we have these meetings coming on. They're like, we do, yes. So are we going to divide and conquer? Are we all going to go to them? I'm more of a, I don't like to say this, but I'm like I work on a whole bunch of men, so I'm like I'm like the wife. Like, hey, you need to be on this, this, and this. But someone has to be. But I'm also the one that, hey, it's someone's birthday coming up. Let's get them a nice card or a gift card. I'm more on kind of like, how can we, morale and how can we make it a little bit better? Like
Build a
I
team.
build a team. So on for Christmas, I decorated the office, but also I have everybody has a stocking with their name on it. And that
Destiny.
I did that for the radio team that supports us, and they were so excited about it. It was like, we're gonna put it up in our office. I was like, okay, cool. That was inexpensive, but it meant something to them. Or I'm big on like, hey, the people who support us, like the people that come and get the trash, the people that help us put stuff on the wall. I'm big on like, hey, around Christmas or just in general, how can we send them a thank you to make them feel like, you know what, they're a little bit a part of a team. We can't do certain stuff without them.
Yes.
So I feel like making people feel important is a big one. But also to get back what you were saying, if a young lady like if this is what you really want to do, I would say always be prepared for the possibility of someone's going to question like, what are you doing there? Maybe not indirect, not it might be indirect and not
Hmm.
necessarily direct, but be able to like, no, I'm interested because I like this and this. Or, I always say I try to be well rounded in what's going on with the world and also a
Hmm.
sports, because sometimes you hang out with a lot of men that's all they
True.
talk about. So I feel like try to find something where you can be a part of the conversation. So you won't feel like you're just sitting back and you just like looking at everybody, kind of like figure out a way that you can,
Be part of the
interact,
conversation.
be a
Yeah.
part of the conversation.
Yeah. I always find once I became a mom, I would always ask the men, oh, do you have any kids? Or if the answer is no, do you have any pets? Just trying to make a personal connection so that the next time I'm in a room with them, I can remember that and say, oh, how's your wife? I try and make that part of my daily operations is to try and learn a little bit more about every individual when I can, which is exactly what you said by recognizing the folks that are not part of your daily operations, but people that support everything that you do and you can't do it without them. Destiny, I'm going to just share with everyone who can't see us because we're not on a video call here. When we started this morning, Destiny has a Christmas sweater on and her office is fully decorated for Christmas with including a beautiful tree. So she gets into it.
I love the holidays, and I've decorated the whole office. So of course they're probably like, "Oh my God."
No, they love it. They're glad they're not the one that has to do it, and they love it, I'm sure.
Well, they're the ones taking it down from from the storage. So yeah, they know.
Okay, I want to do our closing lightning round with you, Destiny. So a few questions, no pressure. Just say the first thing that comes to mind, okay?
Okay.
You mentioned that during COVID, you all had your favorite comfort food. And so normally I ask, is coffee or tea your favorite during an EOC activation? But I want to know what your comfort food is.
Potato chips.
Chips, potato chips.
Chips.
Is there a specific kind, or it's like you're in for anything?
I'm in for anything.
Okay, I love that. I'm a salty snack girl in the evening for sure. What's the best piece of career advice you've ever received?
The best piece of career advice I've ever received is be the first one there and the last one to leave.
I love that. I love that. Show up, man, for all of it. I like
Yep.
it. If you weren't in emergency management, what would you be doing right now?
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a fashion designer, but I think I'll probably be an interior designer because I love decorating and I love everything about decorating my house. Fall every season is something new.
Okay, I love that. That fits with what you've shared with us so far. Okay, and if you could describe how you feel about the future of women in emergency management in one word, what would it be?
The future. Future. I think it's going to be more of us.
We're increasing in numbers. I love that. Destiny, I want to thank you so much for your service. And we are so happy that you joined us today on Resilient Heroes.
Thank you for having me. I saw one of I listened to one of the episodes and I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out.
So Destiny, are you okay if anybody wants to reach out to you, ask you questions, wants to pick your brain on anything, EM, are you okay if they reach out to you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I love it. I'll be open to it. Just let me know.
Okay, awesome. Destiny, thank you so much for your leadership, your service, and for the heart that you truly put into your work. Your story is exactly what this podcast is about. Showcasing and proving that dedication, adaptability, and a deep commitment to community can truly shape the future of emergency management. And for our Resilient Heroes listeners, before we sign off, I want to leave you with some homework inspired by Destiny's story today. Destiny didn't wait for opportunity to knock. She took a class, found her passion, she got involved, and she built relationships that not only shaped her career, but also her community. So here's your challenge. Find one way this week to get closer to the real work that you want to do, whether that's signing up for new training, introducing yourself to a new mentor, or reaching out on LinkedIn with an actual message to someone you've been following and liking for months or years and never actually engaged with. Take that first step because Destiny's journey shows us that small choices can lead to big impact, not just for you, but also for your community. So remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about moving forward together stronger. We'll see you next time on Resilient Heroes. The opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Buffalo Computer Graphics. All content is for informational purposes only. Are you or someone you know a resilient hero and would be interested in contributing to our podcast? We would love to hear from you. Please contact us at RHpodcast@buffalocomputergraphics.com.